Hey y'all, welcome back to Tobacco Leaf Legacies. I'm Cheryl. Look at where I am for today's video. I'm out here by the water. I thought it would kind of fit the theme of today, and today's video is 10 ways that you can heal after extreme stress and trauma. So, what better place than to come out by the water to talk about that and to relax. Okay, so just ignore the wind because out here by the water it is very windy. But anyway, all right, let's talk about what trauma is. I always thought that trauma really only pertained to those who maybe had physical abuse, who were in the military and, suffered that kind of thing. I've probably touched on this a little bit in some other videos. And the thing is, yes, that is trauma, but trauma is how your body defines it. It's not even how your own mind defines trauma. It is how your body defines it. Your body tells you what is trauma and what is not. Because, sometimes we can think, well, mentally maybe something isn't that bad. But your body will tell you whether or not it was bad. So your body is the one that's going to let you know, hey, this is traumatizing to me. And when something is traumatizing, now I'm just going to say this. I know trauma is kind of a buzzword that's out right now. And there are people, sadly, that try to kind of use that as a way to, get attention and different things like that. And I'm not talking about that here. I'm talking about when we have genuinely gone through something that has been traumatizing to our bodies. Okay. And it is something that I didn't realize that I was experiencing that until I sat down and I did some research and started looking at my reactions and such to things. And it was one of those eye-opening, oh my gosh, like, wow, okay, that explains some things. And I want to differentiate between stress and trauma. We all have stressful, times and things and situations that happen. Okay, stress to a certain point is normal. We all have that to deal with. But it also gets to a point where it's not normal, and it gets to a point where the body can't handle it normally anymore, and certain chemical processes start to happen that change us, that change brain chemistry, that change all these kinds of things. And that is really where the quote trauma begins. Okay. And of course, you know me, I've made some little notes to make sure I cover everything here. Okay. So now that we have established that, trauma is very extreme, stressful situations that our body has kind of taken over reacting to. Okay, let's talk about emotions for a minute. We always get hung up on feelings, how we feel and all that. We tend to not think about that feelings are chemical reactions that are happening in the body. Okay, when you're happy, when you're excited, when you're all these things, that is a particular chemical reaction happening. When you are angry, okay, that is a different chemical reaction that is happening. When you are sad, okay, when you're crying, that is yet another one. So I think sometimes we focus on feelings, but we don't understand that they're chemical processes. Okay, to go along with this, I'm going to build on that. Emotions are here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. Okay, we feel, we can feel excited. Look at a football game. Okay, somebody gets a touchdown and they're so excited and so whatever. Okay, well that doesn't sustain for the next week. Okay, that is all feelings, good, bad, and indifferent, if you want to term them that way. All feelings are temporary. But what we tend to also not think about, not remember, is that when we're experiencing especially angry feelings, sad feelings, depressed feelings, those kinds of feelings, those chemical reactions that are happening, okay, we don't realize that when we are experiencing those long term, that is also causing issues in the body because of the chemical process that has got to happen with them. This is something I have learned in the last few years, okay? Just one of the things, okay, if you do some reading about this, just one of the things that this can cause, and this is something I experienced. I have talked about when I lost mom in 2013 and how I had excessive grieving for 3 years. Okay, folks, that messed me up. It honestly messed me up. What it also did was, because I was grieving for so long, because it was such extreme emotion for such a long period of time, that took a toll on the body, because my body was kind of stuck in this cycle, and it was stuck in these chemical reactions that ended up taking a toll on me. After the 3 years had passed, and when I finally got smart and went and got some blood work, we'll talk about that here in a second. When I went and did that, my vitamin D was low. I mean, I had, everything was low. One of the things that was low was my pregnenolone, okay? And I also did not realize this, but pregnenolone is like your grandmother hormone, okay? That is like, imagine you have, you know, all your different hormones in the body, right? But imagine that it all stems from one place, okay, from one cup, we'll call it. Well, that cup is your pregnenolone. So if that pregnenolone cup is low, it's not going to have enough to fill all the other cups. And that is what happened to me. I hadn't even heard of pregnenolone until I started on this journey, trying to heal and doing blood work and seeing what I was low on and all that. Okay, my pregnenolone was 13. I mean, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as getting by, right? And so there was really nothing else. And so all of my other hormones were having problems at the same time. Let's not even get into the fact that menopause started happening at the same time, y'all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I had to go through the two worst things that I could possibly go through at exactly the same time. So, cortisol is something that when your body goes through extremely stressful situations, it releases the cortisol to be able to deal with everything. So, my cortisol was off the charts. Absolutely off the charts, which is bad. That's not a good thing. And it had been for an extended period of time. When your body goes through that, when cortisol is sustained like that for so long, there is something called cortisol steal. And what that means is that, again, because of this chemical process that is happening, it's because it's working overtime. So it doesn't have enough of what it needs. So it starts stealing from your other hormones, which is also bad and also causes other problems. So there's a lot that's happening chemically that I think most of us don't consider, don't think about. Heck, we don't know. I mean, I've always researched health subjects and always looked at these kinds of things, and there were still elements of this that I didn't know. So when you've gone through trauma, when you've gone through an extremely stressful situation, especially for an extended time period, there's a lot that is happening to you chemically. And then we can get into the next part. Just because you're not, quote, feeling an emotion anymore doesn't mean that your body is not still dealing with it. Now, when I came back earlier this year in February, and I was mostly done with the grandparents' home. I mean, I did all that I could do, preserved all that I could do. I'd moved everything into storage I was keeping, and it was time to come home. And I think some people are like, oh, okay, your situation's over, so you're all good now. You know, like, you're fine. Okay, no, I don't even begin to be fine at that point. Because again, I'd had years of dealing with situations, extreme situations, that wreak such havoc in the body because of these chemical processes. Just because the situation is over, and just because you're maybe not, quote, feeling, that feeling at the moment, it doesn't mean that your body is not still processing all of these chemicals and suffering the consequences of them. Sometimes if people have not gone through scenarios like that, they don't really understand. It's just like, oh, well, that situation's over, so you should be feeling fine. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay. Let me see what else I want to tell you here before we get into the 10. Oh, okay, and here's the other thing too. A lot of people, and I'm not picking on grieving, but grieving is such an extreme thing in somebody's life, and it wreaks such havoc on the body that's why I'm going to focus on that. So somebody can lose their spouse, their parent, a child, whatever. And oftentimes it's 3 years, it's 4 years, it's 5 years, it's something like that down the road, where all of a sudden this serious health issue pops up. And they're like, what is happening? Where did this come from? Well, a lot of times, because it took the body 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, to, in a sense, process everything that was happening, and then to start showing the consequences of that, people don't connect the dots. People don't connect the dots back to what actually caused it. And think about this in your own life, or maybe you knew somebody that went through something like that, and then 4 or 5 years later, or whatever the time period was suddenly really sick, or had a serious health issue, health scare. And that happens all the time, and people don't think about that. So that is something else that we need to consider with these kinds of situations. Okay, so now let's get into, well, after we've gone through something like this, what can we do to feel better? Can we heal from this? Yes, we absolutely can. We just have to remember that, I hate to use the term, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was not. Your body got to that point, but if you give your body what it needs, it will heal. One of those things is time, but there's some other stuff we can do too. Okay, so the first thing, number 1, is get some blood work done. If you're coming out of a stressful situation, something's going to be off. Something's going to be off somewhere down the line. So the first thing you want to do is address that. So go to your doctor, just start with regular blood work. Now, there's all manner of, when you're ready to dive a little bit deeper into some things, there's all sorts of websites where you can order different kinds of tests that can be done. I mean, guys, there's urine tests, there's saliva tests, there's just all sorts of things that you can do that your regular doctor is not necessarily going to do. They're not going to suggest. Heck, some of them don't even know about it, okay? But just start with regular blood work. You need to see where you're at, where your levels are at, and where you're low, because that's going to tell you, in a sense, where in the body that you've had problems, where maybe you've been kind of feeling the trauma, the stress the most. Okay, so go to your doctor, get some blood work done, and start from there. Now, I also suggest, if you've got a good doctor that you trust and that isn't being paid by Big Pharma, let's face it, then that's wonderful. If not, look for somebody else. Look for a naturopath. Okay, I have been working with a naturopath this year, and it's been wonderful because I can sit down with her. We can have conversations about the body, about what is happening, about what I'm feeling, and she knows what is happening. Okay, she's got an understanding that if I tried to take those conversations, and if I tried to go to my regular doctor Y'all, she would give me a deer in the headlight look. Okay, so make sure that you're talking to somebody that can truly help you. She's been wonderful. I'll tell you somebody else that is really good, and that is chiropractors. Okay, chiropractors, yes. Now, I know everybody thinks, oh, they're just for cracking your back, but they somehow are taught differently than regular doctors are. And it is amazing the knowledge that they have as far as how the body works and how everything is connected. So that's another option for you as well. Okay, so number 2, the second thing, and it kind of adds to the first, is eating right, making sure that you're eating nourishing foods and taking supplements. Let's face it, we get caught up in a regular kind of diet that is usually not very healthy for us. In general, the population does not eat right, and then they wonder why they're sick, and then they wonder why they don't feel good, and then they wonder all these things, but yet they continue to eat food that the body doesn't want and that it can't process right, and that ends up causing problems. So that's the next thing that you need to do while you're trying to heal. Again, you need to give the body what it needs. So you've already done blood work, you see what you're low in, so you can add supplements there. Again, make sure that you're eating nourishing food. Going to McDonald's is not nourishing food. Okay. Pick on McDonald's, but I pick on all fast food. Yeah, I know. I go get it for my birthday too. But look, y'all, I have it. Like, I have my big thing then on my birthday. I might go a handful more times a year, but most folks go all the time. They go every week. They just go all the time. And you're constantly putting stuff in you that is not helping you, okay? And it's not nourishing at all. So you need to make sure that you are giving the body just as much nourishment as you possibly can to help it start to heal and build back up from where you have essentially broken it down with all those chemical reactions. Okay, number 3 is counseling. Now, take this with a grain of salt. I actually went to counseling and I tried it 2 different times. Yes, I remember 2 different times. The 2 people, one was an older woman and one was younger, and they were both very nice and willing to listen to me and all that. But I guess you kind of have to access what your needs are. Some people don't know, I guess, why they're having reactions, to things. And so it helps to sit down and try to dig into your life a little bit and figure out, some details and the whys and go from there. I knew all the whys. I knew all the why of why I was feeling this way. And I needed something to help me retrain my brain. I needed a different direction, and neither one of them could really give me what I wanted. Now, that being said, I know a lot of people go to counseling and they get a whole lot out of it. So assess what you need. What do you need from counseling? Do you just need somebody to listen to you? Do you need somebody to help walk you through like a plan to get better? Do you need somebody to sort of help retrain your brain? Like, what exactly is it that you need? Because that will help narrow down what kind of counselor that you want. Honestly, I'll admit too, that I really needed it after Mom passed. That 3 years that I really struggled, that's where I really needed counseling. And the frustrating thing about that was that I didn't have insurance at the time. The insurance through, because we used hospice, you get, once your family member passes, you get a year of free grief counseling, right? Well, I didn't realize that I really needed it until that year had passed, okay? I tried searching for free counseling and all sorts of stuff, and I found nothing. So to be honest, the time period at which I really needed it and probably could have used it, I couldn't get it. And then by the time I reached the point where I could finally do counseling with insurance and all that kind of stuff, then I needed something a little differently that I wasn't getting. But that aside, it still really does help folks. So I know a lot of older folks shy away from it because it's like, well, I know why I'm upset. I don't need to go, thank you. I don't need to go talk about it. Well, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because sometimes we get things a certain way in our head, and sometimes we do need help to kind of get out of our head and to, I don't know, sometimes just to accept our feelings. Sometimes we just have a hard time with that, just accepting the reality of what is happening and moving forward. Okay, so that's number 3. Okay, so, and along the way here, when I go to edit, I will, different accounts and such that I follow on social media that have been very helpful to me, I will, put them here on the screen or link it in the description so that you can see that too. Okay, number 4 is working out. Okay, this kind of builds on all the others that we're talking about here. You need to give your body what it needs, and what it needs is to be moving. What it needs is to be working out. Now, whether that means you go for a walk after dinner, whether that means you grab some free weights, whether that means, you go to a gym and do that, whether you, go to a small group that is getting together and do whatever it is. There are so many options at this point, from free stuff all the way up to, really expensive classes, and all manner of varying degrees of difficulty, I guess. So again, assess where you are and figure out what you need. For me personally, I need weight training. I'm going to be 50 next year. I've lost a lot of muscle. I have been very compromised in that area. And so that is what I need. I have spent the better part of my adult life doing a lot of cardio, and that's been fine, which cardio is still important. You still need that. But as we get older, we've got to at least maintain, if not build, some muscle. So that's where I'm at. So you got to work out. Okay. Number 5 is journaling and or reading. Okay. We need to help our mind. We need to help process everything that we've gone through. Now, you can talk with somebody. It goes back to the counseling. That's fine. Sometimes we need to sit by ourselves. Okay. Sometimes we need some quiet time to reflect. If you're not a writer, if you don't want to write stuff out, then get some really good books that can help you work through things and read those. I personally love workbooks. Anything that is going to make me think, that is going to ask me hard questions, that kind of thing. I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm a sponge when it comes to that. Okay. If you're not a big fan of reading, but you do like writing, okay, grab pen and paper. Start asking yourself questions. For that matter, maybe if you've got a close friend, have them write up some questions for you. Whatever it is, whether it's about if you processed a loss or in whatever form, that may be, if you're depressed about situations, whatever, maybe have somebody else write down some questions for you. The introspective part of that, examining our thoughts and feelings and writing that out, it really does make a huge difference in healing. Okay, number 6 is yoga and meditation. Okay, and by the way, these are all things that I have been working on this year, and they're things that I will continue to work on over the next, few years probably, to try to get back to where I was. Okay, so yoga and meditation. This is not foo-foo stuff. This is not, I know everybody likes to call it like new age kind of stuff. It isn't. It really isn't. It is kind of building on the journaling and the reading. It is quiet reflection. Okay, it is being quiet, it is being still. I don't know about y'all, but my brain goes just all day long, nonstop. It is really hard for me to sit on the couch in the evening and just enjoy watching TV, because it's like, okay, my little brain is still going. Like, oh, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. What am I going to do tomorrow? I got to do this, I got to do it all day long. Okay, it's very hard to quiet the brain. Well, when you can't quiet the brain, you can't really focus on healing. You can't really focus on what has been going on, and you can't ever really work through it because you're not really dealing with it. You're just skirting around it, okay? And skirting around issues never, ever, let me say that again, skirting around issues never, ever heal them. You've got to be active in it, okay? So yoga is nice. Not only you've got the physical movement that is happening, but that is calming and quieting to the brain. Same with the meditation. Now, I will admit I struggle too with trying to find a few minutes during the day to sit, but it does make a difference. And even if we think mentally that it isn't making a difference, it's making a difference to the body. Because again, we're all a jumble of chemicals and how these, chemical reactions are happening. So when you give the brain a pause and a break to be quiet and to reflect and all that, it makes a difference up here, even if we think that it's not. Okay? All right, number 7 is massage. I don't get a whole lot of massages. I'm a little funny that way about them, but a lot of people do. And massages in general are very therapeutic. Why are they therapeutic? Well, because we have lymphatic systems in the body. These lymphatic systems are drainage systems, okay? And again, when the body is not processing things right, when it's not working right, when it's not firing on all cylinders, these systems end up not working properly either. So whether you're kind of giving yourself a massage, whether you go to somebody to do it, maybe, and there's all different types of massages that you can get, again, depending on what your needs are. But this is a really good way to kind of get the drainage happening in the body again, to get things moving in such a way that it needs to move in order to foster better health and to promote healing. You're going to hear that 1,000 times in this video, but that is really what this is about at its core, is healing. And there's so many ways that you can go about that. Okay, the next one is Reiki. This is another one that I feel like people are like, oh, that's foo-foo, that's new age, there's nothing to that. Actually, it's science, and that's what I like about it. I started it years ago, and I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I've never done this before, I don't really know if it's going to do anything, but you know what, we're going to try it and we're going to see. Y'all, I have loved it every time. And I know people are like, well, yeah, but nothing happens. But it is happening. Okay, we are energy. Everything around us is energy. And what the Reiki does is it focuses on energy. And the people that are schooled in this and that know how to do it, I don't know how to do it, okay? But the people that know how to do it know how to move energy, we'll call it. They know how to clear it. How to sort of get you aligned again, we'll call it, for just lack of some better words. And what I liked about when I would go see my lady, she would always kind of give me a report card afterwards, which in the beginning when I would first see her, and I would not tell her everything that was going on. Okay, it's not like I spilled my guts before I went in. There was a lot that I didn't tell her. And when she would give me a postcard? When we would go over at the end and she would kind of give me a report card of what she felt, it was amazing how in the beginning she was just like, oh, girlfriend, okay, you've got some heavy stuff, some dark stuff, no. We would go through it. And then over the last few years of going, it is amazing how, when I see her now, it's, oh, you're feeling so much better and so much lighter. And, it has been interesting to see how it has gone as I have gone to see her. Okay. So if you've heard about it, if you know somebody else that has done it, I would encourage you to not discount it and to go try it a few times because I think you will get more out of it than you're expecting that you will get. Okay. Number 9, after you've done all this other stuff, and so you're getting kind of everything internally back in order, you need to pamper yourself. Okay. And I mean, there's 1,000 different ways to do that. So think about the things that you like, the things that you enjoy, the things that bring you peace, that bring you happiness, that, I don't know, make you laugh, whatever it is. Think about those things. Now, let's say if you're going to pamper yourself bodily, okay, well, that would be like a massage, or going to get a manicure or a pedicure, or having a spa day, those kinds of things, okay? If you're going to pamper yourself emotionally, maybe, okay? Read your favorite book that you've read, 20 times that you love, or, watch your favorite movie that you've seen 1,000 times, but that always, brings you joy to watch it. Maybe plan a weekend with your friends. I don't know, go to an expensive hotel for the weekend, and maybe they've got a spa there or something, just something like that, right? You can also pamper yourself mentally, right? So what does that mean? Well, it means you allow yourself some downtime, and I'm totally guilty of this too, that I need to do more of it. You allow yourself some downtime, some rest time. You take a social media break. Okay, folks, social media stuff drives all of us crazy sometimes, right? Put it down, turn it off. Just don't even allow yourself to mess with it for a day, 2 days, I don't know, a week, however long that it needs to be. Try to be a little less demanding of yourself. Admittedly, I'm very hard on myself, and that is something that I have had to work on the last few years, and will have to continue to work on to just not expect so much from myself, and to chill a little bit. Also, I started doing something called a For Me Friday. Okay, I don't do it every Friday, but I do try to do it once a month at least. And usually, it's at home. Maybe I'll fix myself a special coffee in the morning, in the evening. Maybe I'm having a nice cocktail during the day. I don't know. I may get, how you can go buy some of the little face masks and things. So I'll usually do something like that. Put on some relaxing music, maybe take a bubble bath. Let's see what else. I'll do nails, that kind of thing. Just anything at home maybe that you can pamper yourself with. You don't do dishes, you don't clean, okay? None of that when it's for you. And I know with everybody's schedules, you can't take a whole day or whatever. Well, take an hour, take 2 hours. Take, Saturday for a couple hours, just whenever you can fit it in. Okay, everybody's situation and schedule and stuff is different, but when you can fit it in, take some time for you to do some special things like that. Okay, and the last one, and bear with me on this one, is cleaning and organizing. And I know you're already like, okay, Cheryl, I was following you on all those other ones, but cleaning and organizing, like, what is that going to do? They have shown that if you make a to-do list and you start doing things and checking stuff off the list, that creates a chemical reaction in our brain. And it's a happy thing. It's a positive thing, okay? Clutter bothers us, whether it is consciously or subconsciously. And it also creates a very stagnant energy. There's nothing worse than you open that closet to get whatever you're getting out of it, and you're just like, oh, look at all this stuff I gotta clean, and I don't want to clean it. No. Okay, you see how that's already going? And then you do that every day. You're doing that every week. It's all the time. So, and if you've ever cleaned something, and I mean, let's take this closet, right? You pull everything out of the closet. You reorganize it. You get some new bins. I mean, heck, go to Dollar Tree. You're not going to have to spend a lot of money. Get some really cool bins for stuff. Redo it. You can even get some pretty shelf liner paper to stick on your shelves. I mean, you could actually kind of have fun with this, right? When you do that and you put everything back, the next time you go to open that closet door and you're just like, oh, look, it's nice. And that creates another chemical reaction, except this time it's positive. And we've all got spots in our homes that we need to redo. We need to pull out the mess from under the bed. We need to redo the closets. We got to go through the drawers. The cabinets under the sink where all the cleaning chemicals are. I don't know, whatever it is. We all have those areas. So maybe, and I put that last on the list for a reason, so that maybe once you get to that point, once you've started doing some other stuff and you've started feeling better, look around you, because you really do need to focus on the internal first. Okay, so all the working out and the food and all of this, you need to start on the inside. But once you get that going, then you need to focus on the outside, because that is part of it too. And having surroundings in our home that are pleasant and clean and organized, and I don't mean it's got to be perfect, y'all, because mine is never perfect, but it can always be better. Okay, it can always be better. And once you do that, that will also make a huge difference up here, and it will lead to healing. All right, y'all, so I hope that helps. I hope that if this video finds you where you have been having a rough time lately, if you're coming out of a rough time like I am, take some time, think about what I said, try some of those and see if it doesn't start to help you feel better. And I hope that the links and the accounts and the different things that I've included in this as well, hopefully that will help, because a lot of these helped me when I didn't have anywhere else or anybody else to turn to. A lot of these places helped me tremendously in seeing things in a different way, trying some different things that did work as far as helping me feel better and getting me on a better path. So I encourage you to check those out as well. So about time for me to go. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing. It's a beautiful day out here. I think it's a high of like 76. That's why I wanted to come out here to talk to y'all and do the video. As always, time is precious. Carpe diem. Seize the day. We'll see you next time.